Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Gold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Card Subject to Change.
Subject to Change. The podcast by the fan for the fan.
We are just a couple of fans living our dream.
Powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoos. So happy you have found us and joined us, our little corner of the wrestling world here for the next few minutes. Last week was we had episode 201 yesterday, the fallout from Night of Champions. But no reviews here, CZ. We have a guest this week. Of course, I'm talking to my tag team partner here. He is one half of the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the network. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing, bud?
Good. I'm excited. We got more than one guest today. We're going to be talking. We're going to be talking to an ECW Original. We're going to be talking to a Pitbull. We're going to be talking to a current ring announcer, one of my brethren. I used to ring announce. Let's just get the ball rolling. Let's get everybody in here. I'm going to start with the man who is now known as Pitbull number 3, Mr. Christopher Annino. How you doing,
guys,
my friend?
How you doing?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Joining him is, like I said, an ECW original. Some may dare say an ECW legend, Mr. Tommy Cairo. Tommy, how you feeling today, my friend?
Good. They better not dare. What's this dare crap?
Oh man,
they dare not.
CZ,
They dare not. Because I will tell you why. Only 2 men started an Extreme Revolution. 2 men for 1 year. Me and the Sandman had every type of Singapore King. Nobody was going through tables yet. Everybody frowned upon what we volunteered to do because nobody else will. So don't stand there and telling me nothing about dare bullshit.
Fair enough.
And not to use profanity, but please, seriously.
No, by all means. There are no rules on Card Subject to Change. That's why it's Card Subject to Change.
And I'm going to give you a quick little thing, a little quiz. What else besides Card Subject to Change usually was on the Star program that mostly Vince and Vince's father, every show, whatever it was, had this little Star program. It was a company that was their logo on top, and they filled in the card for the night. It said the following wrestling exhibition.
Ooh.
So, talk about exposing the business. All anyone ever had to do if they doubted anything and they read the card up and down like I did as a kid was say, well, what is this? Look up exhibition. What does it tell you? It's like a friendly contest for demonstration purposes only.
Yes.
So it's right there, plain and simple, 50 years ago.
And of course, we've got one more guest to bring in the studio. He is Mr. Eric Stevens. Eric, how you feeling, my friend?
What's up, guys? How are you? I'm fantastic.
That's good to hear. Welcome to the show,
We're
everybody.
We're good, Eric. We're good.
Yeah, you look great. Good to see your.
Oh, thanks. You look amazing too, there, sir. You all look great. I was complimenting the beards. There was a lot of lovely beards going on here.
There is. There's some good beardage going on.
There is.
Absolutely.
I think compliments.
And Mr. Pitbull 3's got a pretty good solid goatee. He doesn't have a beard, but he's repping the goatee pretty darn well. But I've got 3 first-time guests in here, so I got to ask all 3 of y'all the same question I ask every other first-time guest. why pro wrestling? What was it that got you into it? And just as a fan, as a kid or whenever you started watching it, what got you into it? Why?
Well, who you want to answer first? Let Chris go.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll start with the Pitbull.
I just feel as though that it was the best form of athletics. It's the best form of acting at its finest, with raw emotion. And I don't like, I guess, the normal sports. To me, they're boring. Football's boring. Basketball's boring. That's not a challenge. You're going in a straight line. That's it. Baseball's really boring. But pro wrestling, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know. That's why I like pro wrestling, because you don't know. I mean, we could just be hanging out here and somebody could just, I don't know, suplex a filing cabinet,
I can get what you're saying there, Pitbull
like
number
like
3.
This.
It's the great. It is the great unknown. Every time you watch a wrestling show, there is an element of the great unknown at every show. Tommy Cairo, what was it about pro wrestling for you that got you just
Bruno Sammartino.
Okay.
I'll give you as quick as I can. They announced the match next week. WWF Wrestling from the Philadelphia Arena or wherever the TV tapings were. No, I'm sorry. Washington, D.C. Ray Morgan was the announcer. It is the 60s. Next week, Bruno Sammartino and his cousin, which is, of course, his kayfabe cousin, Tony Parisi, a.k.a. Antonio Pugliese, is having a tag team match. Him and Bruno, his cousin, are tagging up against Baron Cicluna and King Curtis. So they announced it the week before. It's the next week, and they announced it 3-4 times leading up. Now they announced the match. They announced Antonio Pugliese runs out to the ring. They announced Bruno. The heels were already in the ring. They were announced first. Antonio comes out. They announced Bruno. Nothing happens. They announce Bruno again. Nothing happens. The guy comes over, hands the announcer a little piece of paper, and he reads it. He says, "Well, apparently, folks, we're sorry to report that Bruno has missed his flight, his connecting flight, and he won't be here." So all of a sudden, the heels, they start pounding on him. Now, my uncle got me into wrestling to watch it. So I'm watching it this day. All of a sudden, the two heels are beating on Pugliese, putting the boots to him bad. All of a sudden, you see the ring announcer. He looks over his shoulder and he says, "What? Wait a minute! It's Bruno! Just came in from the airport." And he's got a suitcase with like clothes hanging out of it. His tie is pulled down. He runs in. Him and Antonio Pugliese back to back. They fight off the heels. And I'm going nuts, and I'm screaming. Oh! My mother comes running in. What's wrong? What's wrong? I go, "Bruno." She goes, "Oh, my God, you're driving me nuts." So my mother, instead of doing something to get me away from it, she's smart enough to know, well, the kid's just crazy about it. Let me get his uncle, take him to the matches. I went to my first match, watched it at 8, and 2 years later at 10, I went to my first match, Newark Armory, Bruno Sammartino, on my uncle's shoulders, patted Bruno on the shoulder. Recently, I posted a picture of me and Bruno a year before I broke in. So, I mean, that's enough for anybody. In those days, when your grandmother watched it, there was still a certain, mystique to it that doesn't really exist today. But
and class,
that's my
too.
story. That's my story.
That's awesome. I love it. And the fact that you got to see Bruno Sammartino live, wow, just incredible.
Yeah. 10 years old.
Eric, what got you into this wonderful world of professional wrestling we all love?
Easy question. My dad. He was a fan. I mean, from the time I could fathom thoughts, you remember as a kid, you just instantly start remembering things, and wrestling was always in my house. Tommy Cairo mentioned Bruno Sammartino. Bruno was actually at Bruno was my dad's favorite, and he was actually at both of my dad's store openings. I have a bunch of pictures with Bruno. My grandmother, who very short little angry Jewish lady who really didn't like anybody, wrote him like a 4-page letter because how awesome Bruno was. Apparently, like he had a line at my dad's auto parts store over in Clementon, and he was like, I will stay as absolutely long as I possibly can. As long as somebody can get me to the airport and I can make my flight, I will make sure I can get everybody in. And my grandmother wrote him like a 4-page like letter and mailed it to him. My dad had him on like Rolodex. I mean, it was cool. Speaking of Bruno, but it was my dad. First time I ever.
Your dad may have brought me out to the ring, or
yeah,
I was on the show that he was on.
He did a lot of NWA stuff. He did a lot of WWA stuff. Old Monster Factory with Larry Sharp. I mean, he brought some names down. I remember meeting this huge dude, and my dad brought me back to he was ring announcing this show for Larry, and he brought me backstage, and he was talking shit to this big, tall dude. He's like, Paul, don't make me come up there and fuck you up. And Paul White picked him up, eye level, and was like, little man, I shit bigger than you. I remember Paul White. I remember the Headbangers, who were the Spiders back in the day. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Tommy, I'm pretty sure he brought you down at some of the house shows. Yep. I know he brought down Gary. So it was my pops. First time I ever saw a match live was in Williamstown, New Jersey. The Pegasus Kid versus Sabu. And my dad ring announced that, which was awesome.
Where was that at?
The Armory.
Oh, because I did an outside show there in Williamstown.
That was your show, you said, Eric?
That was my very first memory of a live event. Let me rephrase, a hardcore live event. I had been to a couple of his like Monster Factory shows, but that match, I was fucking hooked, bro.
What sticks out?
I was hooked. Also, there's a story that's floating around all over the internet about Abdullah the Butcher getting set on fire. My dad was the ring announcer for that match. He almost set my dad on fire.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Because Abdullah the Butcher tried to block the flame with a shawl that was made out of polyester, and it caught and burned him down to the pink. They were supposed to do like 20 minutes. They ended up doing 12 or like 14 or something. And I'm backstage with my dad, and you can smell it. It smelled like steak. And they're like, dude, you got to go to the hospital. He's like, fuck it, I'm hungry. Let's go eat first.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
He was a bad dude. Whew. The scars on his forehead are legit, bro.
I believe it. I believe it.
You know what's funny though? If you look at him more recently, like he's in the wheelchair, standing up and trying to walk and stuff, it looks like they really have faded a lot. Like,
yeah.
As if because I know whenever I had to do that, I make sure I did everything the right way. I won't get into it now, but you have to do it right. If you do it right, you shouldn't have an issue. And even if you did it a lot for a little bit, it does go away once you stop. It will get better, depending on how far you went. But his problem was he had gone so deep that he had to continue to go deeper and deeper.
He was a friggin' madman. My dad told me a story that I didn't see this happen, but they were asking how deep a quarter could go into one of those scars. They were like, yo, there was like this much of the quarter sticking back out. Like, crazy.
Well,
we all have those vivid memories,
Yes. Speaking of memories, you guys are going to be making some memories. And one of the big reasons we brought you all on the show is to promote a fantastic event. And I want to hear the story, first of all, behind Veteran Pro Wrestling. And second of all, I want to hear about this upcoming show from you guys.
Well,
Well, Chris would be the best one to speak on that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so we're all kind of involved with it in some way, and there's going to be a side project that Tommy Cairo and potentially Wrestling and Recovery are going to be doing, but it all coincides with what we're
And
doing.
Eric,
Yeah, it all coincides with what we're trying to do with Veteran Pro Wrestling. The main goal, it was founded in 2012 and it was by a group of veterans and first responders, several including Mike Foley, United States Marine Corps, um, Frank Church, United States Army, my grandfather, United States Navy, my father, United States Navy, myself, I'm a former first responder, and we wanted to do quality shows that helped the community originally. And it disbanded in 2016. Our last show was at the Groton Elks Club, and we've relaunched it because we see a necessity and a need to help veterans. And a lot of veterans right now. Oh, and I forgot to mention Jared Keefe. Jared Keefe was a wrestler that we had. What inspired it was Jared Keefe. He was a wrestler that we had, and he was a former Army specialist. And he went to, he had several tours in the war, and very well-spoken individual, smart. He wrestled as the Patriot Paul Severe. He was part of the tag team, the Star Spangled Butt Kickers. What we're doing now is we're finding out that there's more pro wrestlers, like Nick Quinones, Johnny Faith, um, Jesse Neal, who was United States Navy. He was actually in a ship that was sunk. He was there when that happened, and he later signed with TNA. And we see that this is a wonderful service for them, and that we're going to be teaching them actual acting. So we've got other first responders involved and other military veterans involved. But this is the first show that they'll be featuring a all military pro wrestling faction / tag team. And again, we're relaunching the Star Spangled Butt Kickers. Nick Quinones and Johnny Faith, he's in it. Jesse Neal, and there's a fourth. Eric, can you check the website real quick? I always, forgive me, I always forget this gentleman's name. He's a wonderful person, but it's under veterans on our roster. Can you check it? I don't know if you can.
I may be able to pull that up.
Sure.
But really, how awesome to have such a great promotion that are dedicated to veterans and first responders. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, and we are going to be donating some money to Florida Vets. It's a wonderful organization that helps Florida veterans get jobs, and this is where Tommy Cairo is very key. And we're creating a outreach program for veteran pro wrestling. But what Tommy's looks like he's going to be working on, and we've been talking to him. He can talk more about this, and this is where he coincides with us, is creating an actual program that can help individuals potentially with addictions as well.
Okay.
We're trying to also do as well, but we will be talking to Dennis Little from Wrestling and Recovery, and that's his specialty right now. He passes out special testing kits and stuff, so he makes sure that I believe it's and Tommy, come in anytime. It's more your specialty, but is it the Narcan?
yeah, there's several.
Yeah.
There's several, but yeah, it's basically reverses the effect of an overdose.
Yes.
And there's several different drugs that perform the same function. But this all stems back. Here, I'll give you a quick idea. So you remember Drew? What's his name? Drew, Dr. Drew. He had that celebrity rehab show.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's just say you had a pro wrestler that you want, or Vince, wherever he sends his guys. Say you sent them to a place like that. It doesn't work. And I'll tell you why it doesn't work. They use an old model. And I've
Sorry,
been
I
through
tried and it booted me.
What? What's that?
Sorry, I tried to look and it booted me. I apologize.
Oh,
okay.
it's and just to give you one idea. When you have addicts in a program and you're trying to say a halfway house situation, drug treatment center, halfway house counseling, job, the whole 9 yards. You send a wrestler to a rehab for Hollywood stars, and you wonder why. Because listen, the Vince doesn't have a place to send them, anyone that specializes in pro wrestling addicts, cross addicted. Okay, and I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Because the old model that they use is stupid. You don't house addicts overnight in dorms together. My model would be, say you started with 10 beds, 10 12 by 12 rooms, common areas in the middle, gym, pro wrestling ring to train people who are in the business. If we decide that that's the best route for you to take, maybe you got to leave that behind and we'll give you the skills necessary. But you can't treat a pro wrestler at a Hollywood treatment center, because guess what? Hollywood, actors have, if they do anything physical, their character in a movie, they have stuntmen. They don't need to keep going other than their own vices and want to party. Most pro wrestlers that end up with any kind of addiction, let's be honest, a lot of them no, but a lot of people started with the same old thing that they had in the, like, people who weren't even in the business, regular people. How did you, a middle-aged, woman at home, get addicted? Well, you broke your leg, you broke your knee, you hurt your back. They start feeding you. You never had this issue before. You didn't know about this. You didn't know about addiction. You didn't know that the doctor didn't tell you that you're going to have to break those pills in half for weeks on end. Otherwise, you're in for a time that nobody wants to be in for. It's miserable. So we've got to treat cross-addicted people from the pro wrestling business. And if you had this facility to start with, we don't care if you're related to someone in the business, you're homeless, you're being abused, you're a victim of child molestation or spousal abuse, domestic violence, whatever. We have a safe house for you. And until we can fill up the beds with the people that fit the bill perfectly, we'll take the people that we can help right off the bat. And it'll be a completely different model than anybody's ever seen before, based on my years of being an addict and being recovered and being dead 4 times and still being here. I have a model to put in place that nobody could rival anywhere. Okay. And that's what we want to do, because I'm only interested in who I can help. And if we start something in a program, all I want out of it from here is to help people. And maybe this facility that we got started 20 years from now, they're going to be sitting around and looking up at some pictures of the founders. And somebody's going to say, yeah, these guys, they started this. That's the biggest thing I could leave behind. And that's where we all have come to. And that's why we sit here, the 3 of us, and Gary included, and the other people that we're bringing in to the fold that we're getting involved with. We've left behind the children. We've left behind, the broken people. We may have been broken, all of us at one time, but we're rebuilt and we're better than ever. And we're equipped better than anyone to handle that job of giving to the industry. Wow. Where are we sending Joe? I don't know. Pick a big name guy. He's got to go to a treatment center. Well, we can send him to Integrity House, or we can send him to Hope House, or we can send him to this place. It's the Ironclad Project, whatever. Well, who's running that? You're a pro wrestler now. Well, Tommy Cairo and Pitbulls and this other guy I was with them now, Eric Stevens. They started. Wait a minute. You're telling me that guys from the business like Tommy Cairo, Pitbulls, you're telling me that I have a choice to go to Integrity House or there? And he's been there, and they have a ring, and they have a training center. We have resources. We have counseling. We have AA, NA, Al-Anon. I could go on and on. I have in a book that I will soon find when I empty out this basket the whole project, starting with 10 beds and a layout as far as drawn out like a blueprint. Common areas locked down, and what the program is about, what the model is, and what we use to get you better. So
Well, and it's
that's
also
really
like, yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but like, it's
no. Go
also,
ahead.
we all see, this is where it comes real. Like, all of us at some point, see, wrestling is a very, very powerful thing and an entity of its own. If it's done right and if it's taught right, you can build people to make them phenomenal individuals. You know, someone
Yep.
like DDP did demonstrate that. Now, you know, there are pro wrestling schools that shall remain nameless that aren't like that, and instead they destroy people. So you can either, we're in a position where I'm comfortable with where I'm at in life, and so is Eric, and so is Tommy. We don't have to do this. We're all successful individuals. I'm a successful filmmaker, you know. Tommy is and Eric, successful business people. We don't need to do this, but we see a necessity to do this because I see so many broken individuals in wrestling that are getting abused and are now going to getting addicted with things. There's no reason to do that. Why is it that they capitalize on dark side of the ring? What about the bright side of the ring? They don't
Good
talk
point.
about that.
Good point.
Very good point. And really, for you guys, it's all about giving back to the business that you love, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, our
Absolutely.
memories are and our history.
I mean, there's giving back, but you guys are also doing something that's more than giving back. You're trying to mold and change these people's lives, help them so they can take the next step on their own.
Well, it's
in the
because
right
we all
direction.
dealt with it. I mean, I'm not going to speak for any for Tommy or Eric, but I'll speak for myself. I've dealt with some horrible, horrible issues that I've dealt with, and the only people that got me through it were people like Gary, people like Brian Blair, Susan Tex Green, wrestlers. Wrestlers got me through it, not my family. I mean, my go-to person's Gary or Angel Orsini, you know, because or even Tommy. I'll call Tommy up every once in a while when stuff's going down because he knows. And who could be the best therapists? Who could be the best teachers? Who could be the best actors and the best athletes? Pro wrestlers. It's right there. The formula is right there. It's just people still have a mindset of trying to earn a quick buck or whatever else. It's beyond money. It's beyond selling out arenas. It's about saving people's lives.
Yep. Instead of pushing someone down, how about you lend a hand
Build
and
them.
pull them up?
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And listen, I'm in a situation right now that's difficult because everyone's asking about, you know, and you guys are probably going to eventually ask the question, what's it like? And, you know, trying to fill Anthony's shoes. It sucks because you know what? I miss him. Okay. I don't want to be his replacement. I wish he was here because when he passed away in 2003, it bothered me as a fan, you know, still bothers me. I mean, and if he had the necessary resources at that point in his life,
Mm-hmm.
he still would be alive, and we could be doing 6-man tag teams. We could be
Yep.
enjoying each other, and now he's not. It bothers me more. I mean, it was never in a competition to gun for his spot or anything like that. It just bothers me because he's not here.
Yeah. And he was a sweetheart. I mean,
Yeah,
you realize I know those kids. I say call them kids. There's probably 10 years between us, I would imagine. I don't know how old Gary is, but I'm 67. So is he 55?
I'm not sure. I think
Well,
around there.
I mean, they came down to like kind of try out when I was in Wildwood for Dave Yohannan. And they just came down. And you know what? The funny thing is, I got to talk to Gary about this. I think the first guy he came down with was not Anthony. I think the first time. After that, there was another guy. I got to ask him about that. But then, I met them when they came down and just beat each other up as a tryout. We were like, wow. And then I don't know what happened. I didn't see them. And next thing I know, they went to Larry. But we
that
weren't.
might have been. I think I know who that was. I think that was Raven.
No, because I knew Scotty.
Okay.
No, I don't know. They like the same. Like they were. He was another built guy.
Okay.
And I might be wrong. I don't know, but I just seem to remember the first time it wasn't. May have been Anthony and not Gary, or it may have been Gary and not Anthony, some other dude. I got to ask Gary about that. I was meant to ask him that.
Yeah.
But you're talking 1986 or 7.
That's around probably 80. Man, it might have been 85 because they officially started in 86.
Yeah.
But and like, listen, it's like I did a program. So I shot a silent film about 10 years ago, right? I think I sent it to you, Tommy, and I'll send it to you guys if you want to watch it for free again.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. But what I learned with that was I never brought actors in. You know who the main cast was?
Wrestlers.
Pro wrestlers. That was Ron Bass's last film, and he died right after. Like he died 2 weeks afterwards.
Really?
And he gave a phenomenal performance. Brian Blair and Ron Bass were in a scene together. I only pretty much use wrestlers, veterans. I said something afterwards in an interview, and it went a little not viral, but I said I don't work with actors. I work with people.
Yeah.
I don't like working with actors at all because they're taught not to act. They're taught not to be real. A wrestler can
Right.
give you a real scene. Somebody who's raw can give you a real scene. I love working with radio personalities because they can think on the fly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because look, I mean, I know what you. I look. I know what you guys have to deal with. Because if something goes down, you got to think quick, and you have
Yeah.
maybe 10 seconds to figure out a solution. I never like working with actors, but pro wrestlers, anything, veterans. There were several veterans in that thing. Everyone had fun. And afterwards, I did a program at the VFW in Pawcatuck, Connecticut, and I involved all the veterans, and we shot silent films that whole summer. So that's also
awesome.
what's going to happen with what we're all going to work on. Everyone has something to the table to bring. Eric, myself, Tommy, Gary. Um, we're getting Missy Hyatt involved too. It's just a wonderful camaraderie.
And we turned a negative into a positive.
Yes. I
Us
And
mean,
there's so
ending
many
up,
good positives about it. I mean, we're working
yeah.
with Dennis Little in Wrestling Recovery.
yeah.
We're working with Angel Orsini in Yakuza TV.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many cool things happening. So many cool things that are going to benefit. That are all going to benefit with this. And the main thing, like Tommy and Chris said, it's about helping people. It's not about making a shit ton of money. I mean, if we make money, cool. I mean, money's fun, but at the end of the day, it's about helping the people. We all have our stories. We all have our issues. We all have people in our lives that have suffered through addiction or passed away from addiction. So whatever we can do.
Talking about putting this show together, what's the biggest obstacle you're going to face, between now and when the show occurs?
So,
what's the biggest challenge?
there's really none, because you know what's great about this? And I think I told this to you, Tommy and Eric. Remind me, it's not like it's work, it's fun.
It is
like,
fun.
Yeah, because me and Eric will talk and say, let's do some pre-recordings. Let's do some intro stuff. You and Tommy, and we'll put it on Yakuza TV. I'll have the intro there. Eric's coming down. He's gonna be our ring announcer. Um, you know, we're already looking at other buildings. Gary found a whole bunch of other buildings right now, and they want to work with us, and it's a wonderful thing. We spoke to some of the senators and the town officials. They're happy. There's the only, I guess, if we were to say a challenge, I guess the best way I can answer that question, because there really is no challenge. It's so positive because having someone like Johnny Faith on our roster is a big honor. having someone like Nick Quinones on our roster is a big honor. Brian Idol, who's the current NWA television champion, it's a great honor. I think the only thing I can say that the Real Drago, another NWA guy, Rewind Society, and you have here's the gentleman's name. Please forgive me. Noah Storinsky. Noah Storinsky was a infantry scout / sniper in the U.S. Army. And he's now a pro wrestler, and he's
Wow.
phenomenal. But the only issue that we have, and it is a very interesting issue, and it should never occur, is jealousy. And there's no reason for jealousy. You have a jealousy combined with ignorance is the ingredients of evil.
Yeah.
So we have some jealous people, not many, some jealous people, which makes no sense out there, and we have some ignorant people out there that do say things from time to time. And at first it hurt because unfortunately they were once friends. Now they're not, because we now know who they really are. And this is a way that we're learning and growing too. You know, me and Tommy weren't close originally, but because of certain situations that occurred, we became close. Same with Eric. We weren't close. We were friendly, but
Yeah, I
because of
mean, I
this,
reckon I sat for hours. I mean, we've got hours in already. You know?
oh yeah,
Dude, I talk to Tommy more than I talk to some of my family.
Yeah.
yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And that's not a
No,
bad
No, not
thing,
at all.
right?
I love conversations
No.
with Tommy. I mean, we could talk. We just sit. The last time I saw him, we just sat in his van for like 2 hours and just shot the shit and talked
Yeah.
about business and talked about aspirations and stuff and friggin' smoked and just chilled.
Yeah,
I
how
just
many
wanted
years?
to-
Literally all it was.
I
How many
didn't mean
years of a gap is there to bridge? I'm 67, and
Uh,
no problem with that gap at all.
no.
Yeah. I just want to interject. I didn't want to bug you guys. This is one fact I want you all to know. Jesse Neal, the U.S. Navy veteran who was in TNA, who's on our roster here,
Mhm.
he was in a boat called the USS Cole, and that was sunk. And he
Really?
was there when he was in the hole when it was sunk, and he
Wow,
survived it.
that's incredible.
Oh, so he's just an all around badass.
Dude,
That's a hero too. Yep, that's
he was
amazing.
he was a petty officer, 3rd class.
Wow.
And good guy, good like-minded guy, and very humble. Our roster is so humble. Everyone's kind and everyone helps build each other, man. It's not like this toxic. Look, I've been in a lot, and I'm sure Tommy has been in a lot of locker rooms too that have been very, very toxic.
Mhm.
You know,
Most.
yeah, I had to go the southern route and do a minor, really bad I had to prove myself before I got this Pitbull position because Gary wanted to make sure if it was the right decision. I had to go to down south in the worst promotions ever, in the worst locker rooms ever, in the worst climate ever, and I
Ugh.
saw such toxic things. And there were moments I wanted to quit because it's like, does it get any better? It does. The truth is, it does. And the reason why I know that, and one person I'll mention that we didn't mention is a gentleman named Handsome Jimmy Valiant,
Boogie
the,
Woogie Man.
the Boogie Woogie Man. He was the guy who trained me, and I needed to see him again to get retrained because when you're there, he works your mind out before he works your body out, and he convinces you believe in yourself and you stick to your guns and you keep working, good things will come.
I just want to say that the overall message you guys are spreading, I absolutely love it. I mean, for me, I've always looked at the pro wrestling world as a family. I have a lot of people that I'm really good friends with, that I'm really close with, who are wrestlers, who are in the business, because I haven't I haven't had the experiences that you've had, Chris, where you've gone to those toxic locker rooms.
Yeah.
But the fact that you are bringing something out for people in need just emphasizes even more that family aspect. You know, the fact that you have someplace where people can go to get better, to improve themselves. I look back, you know, you talk about loss. We lost so many people before their time. I have to wonder if there were people like you and things like what you guys are putting together back then, how many of those people would still be with us?
Chris, I'll
We
tell
were,
you
we were
this.
talking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
Tommy and I were talking about that this
Yeah.
morning.
This is where it all comes from, okay? And I can't speak for Eric and I can't speak for Tommy, but in my situation and in my case, what happened when I joined wrestling was it was very positive at times, but there were people that were older that could guide the new guys like me at the time, and they didn't. They would just beat the shit out of them, do whatever they wanted to them, and talk shit behind their back so they don't get booked. You know, I'm not gonna mention names, but they know who they are, and they still keep talking, and they've kept talking crap about me. It doesn't matter how many awards I win, doesn't matter how many championships I win, it doesn't matter this promotion or anything that I've done. They'll always be negative, and that's what I had to understand because I had to go to Al-Anon and understand these things. These people that talk negative and want to beat you down is because they hate themselves so much that it makes them feel better when they shit on you.
They thrive on chaos.
They thrive on chaos. And it's not even the situation that's happening recently. And certain people know what that whole scenario is. It's other situations that I've dealt with, bro. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you things. You know, I graduated Mitchell College.
I think you told me that.
Yeah, I did. You know,
Oh,
I'm
you
also
said they took your credentials.
so I graduated Mitchell College, but they also banned me 5 years later. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I told the truth. I told the truth. They fired 7 professors. They caused a man to want to kill himself. Okay? They treated him poorly. And I went to press and I told them. And there's a nasty little article about Mitchell College fires 7 professors, all minority and all had tenure. I don't care if they ban me for life. I got my education and I earned my education. They can't take that away from me. They ban me from property. I don't care. I don't have no reason to come back. But that means that they're also evil, horrible people. Yesterday to today, and I will tell you this, because this is a message I want everyone to understand. Today, I was given an opportunity to work with a millionaire. Okay. He did something so bad at one of my events. It's unforgiven what he did. He threw a piece of garbage at an autistic girl.
Nope.
What?
He gave me this offer today. He said, "Let's let bygones be bygones,
Nope.
and let's work together." I said, "No, I'm
How
not
about
working with you."
no?
I said, "I'm not working with you, dude. You treat people unethically, and you think money can buy it, but there's stuff that's way beyond money." And I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a bit of a tyrant in the New England territory. And unfortunately, yes, he is a promoter. I like very few promoters because they have that God complex. And there is no one bigger than God, if you believe in God. But there is no one bigger than God. So we focus on people that need to get built up. We have a wonderful women's division. Angel Orsini should have gone to WWE, but somebody, I'm not going to mention their name because that's going to come out in the documentary quite soon, made sure she couldn't make it. She was trained by Liz Chase. She was trained by Dusty Rhodes. She put everyone over. People respect her. Well-known people respect her. Paige respects her. All these people respect her. She's a co-founder of the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame. But one person made sure she couldn't move forward. She's got one more chance. She's got one more run, and we believe in her. So we put her on the women's roster. She just got reconstructive surgery on her foot and reconstructive surgery on her knee, and she's still going. Someone like Susan Tex Green, that person should have a a book, movies after her, but they buried her because you want to know what she did? She stood up for herself too. She was in the ring with the fabulous Moolah, and Moolah was abusing them beyond. And she tried to embarrass Susan in the ring. Well, Susan was trained by a guy named Danny Hodge. Tommy and I know who that guy is. And she put Moolah in a submission hold. I believe it was a shoot Indian deathlock, and tried to pop her kneecap out until she tapped out. And she took her title. She also took her dignity because she made sure Vince would still hire her no matter what. And she still worked. She got off of Moolah's little island there of abuse, and she still had her own career, and she still became her own individual. She was also the first ever openly gay female wrestler. And do you think she got a lot of shit? No, because they treated her with respect. She didn't put in people's face. She said she is who she is. She didn't bother anyone. She lived her life. And that's
I
what it's
remember
all
grew up
about.
with. She was active when I was, a fan.
Yeah. Started in 1969, and she still has not officially retired.
Wow.
People like Jeannie Bassan, who you had on your show.
Mhm.
I'm going to be honest, man. She deserves more than what she's been given. She's starring in a film that I'm directing, and she's one of the best actors I've ever worked with, Lollipop Gang. And she earned that lead role because originally it was based on one individual, and I took him out, and I realized that she's more talented. And the wonderful thing about her is she's finally doing it. She's got a book out. She's on our roster too, and you better believe she'll wrestle. Teal Piper, Natalia Markova, all these women wrestlers are on our roster. Eventually we're hoping that Deb Malenko's on our roster. They're all great wrestlers that don't get a push.
Now, whose daughter is that?
Deb Malenko, that's Great Malenko's daughter.
Great Malenko's. You talking about? No, wait.
Yeah.
The Great Malenko was Boris Malenko.
Yeah, Boris's daughter.
How old is Boris?
50.
Is he alive?
No, he passed away.
All right. So how old is she?
50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Teal Piper, which is Rowdy Piper's daughter, another great worker. All these people, we're trying to have it so that Veteran Pro and the other organizations we're working with is a safe place where wrestlers can build their skills.
Or rebuild.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a better phrasing. Yeah, rebuild.
Because again, there's so much different aspects of the business.
Yes.
I mean, people think it's just, a physical thing. No, there's so many different things that people can do and benefit from. Like Chris was saying, I mean, he met some really awesome actors that aren't actors and they're wrestlers.
Yeah, or veterans or radio people,
Dude, I'm not getting power bombed through a table, but I can talk on a friggin' microphone. You know what I mean? There's so many different skills that are available to these people that we can help them with.
I'm going to compliment Eric on this one thing. I saw a video clip of him cutting a promo, and it was against Dr. What's his name?
So Stephen Fleming.
This is great. So he cuts this promo, and he lays in to Fleming, and you talk about heat everywhere, white heat. You can't buy that. You can't write that stuff.
That's right.
He was so mad.
Good.
He tried to reprimand me after the whole spot went down.
Oh my God.
And I said something to Tommy about it. And I was like, dude, did I do something? Because this was the plan. It was talked about hours before the show. We had this whole spot planned, and he was supposed to snatch the mic from me, and we were supposed to go back and forth. And he wasn't quick. I'm going to be real. I've been a stand-up comedian for over 20 years. I deal with hecklers. I shit bigger than this dude, like legit. And he tried to come at me, and
you and Paul White.
Yeah.
But
Actually, no, I can't even say that because to his credit, Stephen Fleming is a very tall man, so that would definitely hurt coming out.
But here's the thing. How it was handled afterwards, I wouldn't have done that. You know what? I would have said, you know what? Let's turn that into an angle. Let's
I
turn that into a
wish I
storyline.
saw the video though. I wish I had seen the video
I got it.
of him falling. I'm gonna be
I
real.
was so pissed off when Eric told me that he had the audacity to consider himself talent, but not Eric.
Yeah, he was like,
I almost lost it. I'm telling you.
he was like, you can't make the talent look weak. The ring announcer's the only ring announcer's
If
job
he's a
is
heel ring
to make
announcer,
the talent. But the whole plan was we were supposed to have a playful banter back and forth.
right?
And I didn't say anything out of pocket. He's an older gentleman. So I was talking about a walker and a pacemaker and just playful banter. He got so pissed off, he tried to put his hands on me and actually fell into me. We're standing outside the ring and lost his balance. And he's leaning up against the ring, and you can actually hear. Apparently, you can hear me on the video being like, "What are you doing, dude?"
No, but like going back to it, like honestly, that real. Let's just say that's considered a bad thing. I would have taken that bad thing and recycled it, turned it into a good thing, and everyone would have made out well. I
He
feel
doesn't
personally
know
I would
it's
have
a
been down
work.
for it.
that
He
would have been a
doesn't
good
realize it's a
angle.
work. He doesn't realize it's a work. That's the only explanation you can have. So Eric worked you into such a frenzy that you forgot that this is what you're supposed to do because you are an idiot and he's telling you are. So you're taking it personal because you're an idiot. It's like
Right.
it's
So like, and here's the other problem that's happening in wrestling, and didn't really mean to get into this era, but too many people that don't understand how to delegate properly or lead properly are
Yeah,
in charge. Okay. And the problem with that is, look, you always do what's best for business. Okay. So say you're promoting a show. Well, I'm going to put over the guy that the fans like, or I'm going to have it so the other guy wins. So the fans come back to see if the other guy is going to win that they like. Okay. So you don't put over your freaking friends in wrestling unless they can
Right.
fill that slot.
agreed. Yeah, if it's pertinent to the story and it's pertinent to the card, it should be that way. I mean, Tommy and I have written several shows together at this point. Everything made sense, and that the whole storyline with the whole Stephen Fleming thing, which up until this whole thing happened, I actually enjoyed him. I didn't think he was. I thought he was funny. I thought the first show
Not a bad
that we
guy.
did together, I thought he was a decent dude. Had no
Still
problem with him.
is, but we're not going to mention who, but certain people just cause certain things. But we have no issues with Stephen Fleming. He sounds like a nice dude. But again, my only critique on that would have been, and I'm just using this as an example because this is what happened with majority of a lot of the independent pro wrestling promotions. If you use that for fuel for a story, you now have the best method acting storyline you could go with.
Yeah.
Why
Perfect
did the
example.
Raw era? Why did the Raw era work? You had Brett going against Sean, and Sean and Brett hate each other.
they hate each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time. I'm sorry, at the time. So it worked though. They had the best match. The greatest match I ever saw to this day was the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels Iron Man match.
Yeah.
And it's my opinion. To me, it's the greatest. But they did a great job. You can never deny that wasn't a great match. That was a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
The element you got to look at too is when you have to work together for business and you genuinely really don't like each other at the time, it's a one-upman. It's going to be a great match because you don't want the other guy to shine more than you. So it's
No.
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to even keel because you don't like each other. If you like the guy, you wouldn't care. If you got over, you got over.
I think you care, but
You don't. Right. It's
yeah,
different though. It's not out of jealousy or hatred.
yeah, you're trying to maybe take channel the frustration through the match.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if it's good for the match and it's good for the show, then who cares?
That's
Just
right.
work it.
See,
Everybody benefits.
You're right, Eric.
Why not?
I wish more people had that rationale.
They-
If it makes sense, if it goes along with the show, do it. So many times
Exactly.
stuff is done for one reason, right? But That's either.
But you would have to re-educate the entire different demographics of wrestling fans because they've been fed for so long such garbage that we've lost all control over having the ability to still suspend disbelief by the quality of our matches and our actions. When I got to take 2 steps out to throw the guy in the other corner, he has to run the rest of the way out of his own accord to the other corner. Now we're getting goofy. Just case in point, AAA meeting, coupling up with the WWE. Well, it's the worst product you've ever seen because you can't. Either you have to have all lucha guys work together, and then what's the sense in them being on a card with WWE people?
Doesn't make sense, dude.
It makes no sense. And then you put them together, and either you got to do what Moose does. Have you seen Moose over in Mexico? He just, like we talked about, he just lets them do their stupid shit, and then he just moves out of the way or slams them to the ground. So that's the only way you can approach it, to try to mix the two.
Tommy, can I give you a scenario, and maybe this will also help paint a picture of what's kind of going on out here? All right, so I'm going to give you guys all a scenario. I never really brought this up, but I think it's needed. I was in a match in Bristol. I'm not going to mention the guy's name, Grappling Greg. Oops. And he shows up, and he's a little not there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Probably taking some substance, probably taking some alcoholic beverage. And I keep telling him, he's like, he goes to me, he's like, "Oh, so what are we doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going over, but it's got to be a fuck finish. We got to figure this out." And then he's like, "All right, I don't want to talk to you for right now." Turns out he had an argument with the promoter because he's from Bristol, Connecticut. And he's like, "Yo, man, I'm from Bristol, man. From Bristol. I never lose in my hometown." Sorry. So he said he doesn't lose in his hometown. I didn't know
That'll be the
about this.
choice place for you to lose.
Right. So I didn't know about this little argument that they had, a little spat that they had. So he tries to turn it into a shoot. I just belly to back him and go for the pin because it just didn't make sense. Oh, we were also in a 10x10 ring, so that was a fun time. Well, they didn't know dimensions. They thought it was
Wrestling in a closet?
Pretty much. Well, I could go. So at the end of the match, he talked so much shit about me afterwards behind my back, made all these bizarre accusations that never happened. And I later found out again, Tommy, that he's upset because he lost the worked match in his hometown of Bristol, Connecticut. What are your thoughts on that, Tommy?
I think we lost. Tommy's having some.
I'm trying to get back. See what happened here.
He's kind of
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, it's just the screen just left.
I got you.
All right. Well, anyway, we've seen enough of my face, but now I have a echo.
Oh, I can hear you.
Hold on, I may be able to fix that.
All right.
Please don't ask me to back out and go back in.
No. Can you hear? Are you still having that echo, Tommy?
Let me see. Yeah, it's a delay. Oh, yeah. I don't know what that is. Oh, my gosh. I don't know what I can do. All right. 3-1. Let me try this again. Cancel.
So, what are your thoughts on that, guys? While Tommy's doing that.
Again, if it benefits the show, it makes more sense to just suck it up, dude. I mean, if you got to lose in your hometown, who cares? I mean, again, it would be the choice place for you to lose. You would get so much heat.
I'm right. I'm not a wrestler and never will be.
Me neither.
But like, I just kind of roll my eyes at these guys that get so caught up in wins and losses because myself as a fan, I kind of look at more at who loses the match and kind of what's next for them and how they handle the loss, so to say, more so as the guy winning. I think maybe some guys in the business who are in it for the wrong reasons get too caught up in the W's.
There could be so much that you could do as far as, you know, the storyline even goes with it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Chris, you could have ran your mouth to, you know, the dude's like family on your way out, like, oh, I beat your guy.
Right.
And
And
then
well, the build-up was supposed to be a flag match afterwards, and that's really what it was. It was the build-up, which was going to be a bigger show, supposedly. So I'm just letting you know that that's kind of what we're dealing with nowadays. The prisoners are running the prison. The inmates are
yeah.
running the prison.
Well, because like you had mentioned before, the promoters don't want to piss off the people that do for them, because if they don't have the people that do for them and do for them either inexpensive or free or whatever, I mean, who are they going to have to do whatever? You know?
Correct. And that's what we're dealing with. So he then did a thing afterwards. Is like, well, if he basically did a mutiny on the promoter afterwards and said, you know, you're done and whatever else, and I'm going to make sure my friends leave too. And ironically, the promoter then said, I'm really scared that I'm going to lose everyone because of this. And well, you made this decision. You wanted to do a thing. Yeah, well, I'll let you know. For now, I'm not going to use you. I'm like, okay, I don't care. I don't care. But it's just the fact that I found it humorous that somebody who was drunk and high has more power over somebody who's not drunk and high. And we could have made money for a part two. And that's the thing. You do what's best for the business, but that's what they don't think. They think ego first. Anytime I see these guys walk out to the ring with like 35 belts, okay, not going to mention certain people's names. I kind of want to, but I'm not going to. It's always a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if it was maybe like, again, pertinent to the storyline, I can understand. Like, wasn't Jericho like one of the first undisputed champs, and he had like 3 belt, the Triple Crown? No, not Triple Crown. That was what the fucking, I can't remember. But 3 belts at one time.
Jericho?
Yeah.
RVD.
He would have had
RVD.
it would have been like the 2 tag belts and maybe the US.
Yeah, I forget what champ he wasn't. He the 2 heavyweight champs at one time. He was like the undisputed champ before they merged the belts.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Might be RVD as well. I think RVD had
RVD, I know, was also, and I think Whipwreck had the Triple Crown at one point.
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes sense with them, yeah, but it's
with
like,
with certain people. Again, if it's pertinent to the story.
yeah,
for sure. Well, gentlemen, I know we try and be respectful of everybody's time. We're a little over an hour mark. I want to just last couple of questions for you. I'm gonna just fire them right away. Where can we find you people on social media, and can can the show in September be streamed anywhere?
yeah, okay. So real quick, I'll Veteran Pro Wrestling. You can find us anywhere on social media. We have Twitter, we got YouTube, www.veteranprowrestling.com. Okay. That's a website that we got there. The show is going to be a very interesting show. It's going to be September 6th, 2025. It's going to be in Spring Hill, Florida, at the VFW Post 10209, and a lot of great matches. The first time ever, Teal Piper versus Natalia Markova from NWA. We're working with AIWF too, by the way, and we're going to go for the AIWF 6-man Tag Team Championships, United States Tag Team Championships. That's the Rewind Society, with HK Body. against myself and Gary Wolf, the Pitbulls, and Jesse Neal from TNA. We're going to be managed by Missy Hyatt. Got the Real Drago going to be wrestling Demos from TNA. Brian Idol, again, for the TV championship. He's going to be defending the TV championship there. And we got the debut of the Star Spangled Butt Kickers with Jesse Neal, Nick Quinones, and sorry, I'm trying to remember. Jesse Neal, Nick Quinones, and Noah Sterinsky, all veterans, the first ever veteran faction. We are going to be working with Wrestling in Recovery, and they have a show coming up as well. And
July.
Tommy, oh yeah, when is that, Eric?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's July 12th. I have to double check. It's at the beginning part of July.
Well, if it's July 12th, that's when everybody has a show. WWE, AEW, at least 3 promotions here in Iowa.
Wow.
That's the day. That's like the temporal nexus of wrestling shows.
But ours is for a cause. Ours is always for a good cause. So
Well, that's fair.
there's that. There's that.
You know, I wanted to weigh in because I was lost there for a minute on the doing, what's best for the business. The worst thing for especially a small promotion is to put anything other than your best foot forward, barring any activities of your workers that don't line up with what we're trying to do. I don't care if I don't like them, as long as they're a good person, they're not a pedophile, they're not a child molester, they're not, none of that. If they're good people, and I just don't really care for them so much, maybe I don't like their attitude so much, it's really not a big deal. As long as they're not abusive to anyone or disrespectful. Can't like everyone, but you got to put your best foot forward at all times. That's where Vince McMahon got himself in trouble, because he had so much money and so much power that he could do whatever tickled his fancy rather than what was the best decision for the business at the time. That's what happens with these small promotions. They get caught up. There's all kinds of, this guy's a ticket seller, that's why he's on. Well, this sister's brothers, that's why they're no good. When you run your operation like that, you're doomed right from the start. Put your best. Yes, you got to put your best people forward. And if you vetted all your people and you're in agreement, we're all in agreement that these are good people, there should be no problems. Should be no problems.
And we all have amazing people on this show. And again, it's for a great cause. You asked the question if it can be streamed. If I'm not mistaken, you'll be able to view it on Yakuza TV. I think we're also working on a couple other possibilities as well for streaming. So we'll definitely be in contact with that. Also, you wanted, did you want socials as well?
Yes.
All right. So you can check out Veteran Pro Wrestling on Facebook as well as YouTube. I know you can check out the Pitbulls as well as Christopher Annino on Facebook. You can check out Tommy Cairo as well as myself, Eric Stevens, on all social medias. So
Excellent.
I like him saying it. His voice sounds better than mine.
He's also got the curse of being a ring announcer with that voice. So.
You know what? It's 20 years of stand-up comedy, radio DJ, podcasting. It just goes to show you that, you mentioned that before that you had done some ring announcing as well. Were you trained in any kind of ring announcing or trained in any aspect?
Not at all. We had a promotion that I went to. They asked me to take pictures of the show. And then the next month, hey, you want to ring announce? Sure, why not?
See, you're ring announcing,
I did that for a couple of years.
You're ring announcing, but you're really expediting.
Yeah.
Your ring announcer is your expediter. The promotion that doesn't realize that and put the right person like me and Eric together, you're missing something, because this man is controlling the flow, the pace, and the energy of the show, and has to know every aspect Who the particular referee is for that match? How long are we going? What's the finish? Everything. Okay.
It takes a
Height,
lot of
weight.
work to write a show. People don't realize how much work actually goes into planning a show. I mean, Tommy and I sat there for several hours going through the first several shows that we did. You know, anybody that tells you that they can bust out a show in under an hour is full of shit. I'm gonna be real.
Or the show's full of gaps.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have every step of what that show is on your cards, and you're the one. I don't tell you when to bring the guys to the ring. I don't tell you when to ring the bell. You tell people when to do those things. You're the one and people don't get that. It's not just your voice. There's a lot more to it. Plus, then you got to understand the business to be part of that process. So it's
you just got to understand business in general. I mean, look, I know wrestling business is different than other business, but business is business. And putting on a show is the same as it is across the board. The audience is just different, and the presentation is just different. If you have a good staff and a good crew from start to finish, you are going to have a kick-ass show, whether it be a hole-in-the-wall open mic or in front of, 30,000 people. You have to believe in the product that you put on. You have to believe in the cause for the product. And that's what, VPW believes in. That's what myself and Tommy and Gary and Chris and everybody that's involved, that we believe in this product. You asked a question earlier, what the biggest worry and I think for me personally is I just want to put on the greatest fucking show for these people that absolutely deserve it. And because that's what these veterans deserve. They deserve it. The show is called September to Remember. It's for September 11th. It's for the veterans. It's for, not just for the veterans, but we're doing stuff for autism. These people, it's not just a show. People think that they're going to be coming to a wrestling show. They're going to be coming to an event. It's going to be all day. You're going to have stuff to do with your kids and your families. I'm going to be going live on my socials all day long. I'm going to be hanging out with kids and doing all sorts of shit, whatever. This is what it's about.
Join the movement.
That's what it's about.
Amen.
Putting on the best product possible for the right reasons and with a great crew, because VPW has an amazing crew, and I'm so grateful to be part of it.
Yeah. If I were closer to you guys in Florida, I would definitely be attending the show, but that's a little bit far for me.
We're gonna try to get you to stream it, bro.
I'm gonna do my best to do it. I can't wait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing so good, and we got wonderful people like EM Collectibles, Rock Your World. Kat's an amazing human being. We have a really kind young boy who's going to be a part of this. He's going to be our bell ringer officially, and that's actually Kat's son, and really kind individuals. We're trying to build people. We're not trying to break them. That's our goal.
Yeah. And we're going to return of the heavyweights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Tommy's working on a really awesome concept to bring something that has not been seen before. And when it does launch, holy shit! I'm just being real. You're going to see a completely different show.
Yeah.
Keep us posted on that. We'll definitely hype it up for you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that now.
These are going to be.
I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to be seeing fighting athletes. That's what you're going to see.
We're working with such great companies too. I mean, there's so many companies that we've been, like we said, Wrestling Recovery. There's so many like you were talking about, collectible companies that we're working with.
AIWF, Atomic League.
Yeah,
Wrestling,
Yakuza TV,
National Wrestling Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great stuff, man. It's everything.
Down to the little companies like Grapplemon.
Yeah,
coming to you with awesome little wrestling trading cards.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the stuff that you did just real quick, like for me, that I posted was awesome. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It opens up your mind as to what's possible. especially if you're someone who's still somewhat viable, and still hanging and banging like we are. You got a lot of wisdom. We got wisdom when we got youth. So how can you beat that combination? It's
Got
really hard.
drive, and heart. That's all we
A
need.
lot
We
to
don't need anything
offer.
else.
Yep.
A lot to offer from different avenues.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, that is going to wrap things up for tonight. I want to thank the three of you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you and hearing about all your stories and this great event for a great cause. Can't wait to hear more about it.
And no offense from earlier.
No, none taken.
Thank you for having us.
I think he knew that you were ribbing him, but yeah, he definitely locked into it.
That's all that matters.
Well, before we get out of here, I will let you know next week we have Jana Pride, one of the best independent refs in the business right now, coming on. I can't wait to talk with her. That is next Sunday. We will be back for our short form show, The Kickout, this coming Wednesday. But gentlemen, thank you again for coming on. You guys are welcome back whenever. We'll get in touch and make things happen. But
yeah.
That's going to end things for tonight. So for my partner, Never Wrong, Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. This is Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan, for the fan, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. We'll see you right back here next week for another episode.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.